Today's video topic is about releasing things, and the reason why I wanted to make a video about this is because when I first started my channel, I was living in a house and living in a stable environment where I wasn't moving a lot or I wasn't going places a lot. So I was in an environment where I could stick to kind of a routine of doing rituals in a certain way. And while that was great, now I'm not in that position in my life anymore. I'm in the position of I have pretty much lived out of a hotel room for the last 4 or 5 months out of choice, not because I was forced to. My parents would let me stay here if I wanted to, but I've been staying with Nathan, who is staying at a hotel. And it's good that I've been doing that because it's given me the opportunity to kind of see how I could incorporate my ceremony practice and my rituals in with living out of a hotel if we were traveling together. So because of this, I figured why not do a video of a bunch of different ways that you can release things in case you can't burn things. Maybe you are still living in your parents' house and you aren't even allowed to have a candle in your room and or burn things in a candle container because it's not always the safest thing to do, and sometimes we're living in an apartment where we can't burn things and we're afraid that we're going to set off fire alarms, or you're in a hotel and you're not able to burn things. So I want you guys to have a bunch of different ways of releasing things in multiple different environments. So with that said, I've made a list of different things according to element. So I've started with fire, I have water, I have earth, and I have air, and I have spirit. So all of these different methods will go over different elements. So to start out, let's start off with fire. Obviously, you can burn things. Burning things is the fastest way to release things. It's my preferred way of releasing things just because it's super easy and quick, and I'm not really the most patient person. With fire and burning things, you can write on pieces of paper, you could write on leaves, or material that you find in nature that is burnable. So it could be twigs, it could be branches, it could be logs, it could be pieces of bark. Anything that you can write on that can be burned is a way for you to write something that you want to release on it and then burn it away. I prefer using paper just because it's easy, but like I said, you can always use natural resources too. Another way of using fire to release things is a candle method, and I believe that I saw this somewhere because I don't think I came up with this idea myself, but I saw a picture somewhere of someone using a pillar candle, and it had a bunch of pins stuck in it, and what they did was they took each pin and put intention into each one. And you can either do this with spells or releasing things, and with each pin you sit with that pin and then you say, okay, this pin represents fear. So then you stick that pin into the candle, and you can stick as many pins or the least amount of pins as you want into this candle, and as the candle burns and as the pins fall, those things are released or activated. So whether you want to manifest something or release something, that's always a good method too. Another way to work with candles is if you have pillar candles, tapered candles, or even votive candles that aren't actually set in a glass, you can carve into the sides of them with a pen or just a little pin or whatever you find useful, and carve what you want to release into that candle, into the wax, and then as it burns away, it will be releasing that thing. Now that we've gone through the fire methods, let's go through water. So water is a little bit slower than fire, but it is still very useful, especially when you use things that are able to be biodegradable and will melt away in water. So obviously paper is a good option. You can always try to find recycled paper or the paper that has seeds in it, so that when you wash it away, if it ends up finding earth, it will start a plant. If you're not opposed to using paper, you can always use tissues or toilet paper as well. I know toilet paper seems like a silly option, but the one thing that is good about toilet paper is that it's meant to actually break down in water. So it actually works better than paper or tissues. So if you use a toilet paper option, just it's conveniently meant to break down in water. If you're really against the idea of using paper, then you can always use a piece of fabric and write on the fabric with a water-soluble marker, and then put that fabric after you've written on it in water and just let whatever it is dissolve away into the water or wash it away. And that way it's releasing things, and it's something that you can reuse over and over again, as long as you just set it out to dry, and then you can use it for the next round of releasing. Another method that I find really helpful when I have like body shaming thoughts and things like that is to use a water soluble marker on my body and actually write the things that I want to release on my body and then wash them away in the shower or the bath. This is a more mindful method of really seeing what you're releasing and putting effort into actually releasing it. People who just want to be more hands-on with what they're releasing, it might be a good option for anybody who wants to try it. Okay, moving on to earth. So I know you guys are all expecting this. Burying things. Burying things is a great way to release things. I've done this before and it works really well. It is slower than all the other methods that I've talked about, but it is still very effective. A simple one is just writing on a piece of paper or writing even on stones or wood or whatever you feel called to use, and then burying it. Obviously, if you write on stone, it's not going to dissolve away, but if you use like a water soluble marker or something like that, you can always have it dissolve away as well. But if you are worried about toxins from markers or anything like that getting into the soil, you can always think about taking herbs or something else that would make a natural ink. So you could use berries, you could use red wine, you could use whatever it is that is already available to you and just make it into your own ink that you can use on the stone to have it dissolve away. And with the other options, you can always use that with those as well, whether you feel like using it on paper or something like that if you're worried about the toxins from ink pens or something like that getting into the earth. Like I mentioned with the water methods, I do really like the idea of using seed paper to release things, especially with the water and earth methods, just because with burying things, it makes sense to have it grow into something beautiful. So if you have access to seed paper, that can be a great option for people who want to have something grow out of what they're releasing. When I've had things that I've buried to release them, whether it's a memory or trauma or a past relationship or whatever it is that feels heavier to me, I like to do almost a funeral service for it. And I know it sounds silly, but trust me, it really works, and it really feels a lot better to have that ceremony along with what you're releasing. I don't know what it is, but it just makes it feel more sacred, and it's easier for you to release it because our minds associate funerals with endings, and because we're releasing it, it's causing our minds to actively release it. So whether that is putting everything in a box and burying it, or like what I did, I put it in a paper bag so it would degrade away, and just doing that and saying a couple words, crying over it if you need to, I did, and just burying it and really feeling all of the energy associated with what you want to release and putting it in with what you're burying. Moving out from the earth methods, let's go over the air methods. Now, bear with me, I couldn't really think of a whole lot of good air methods to use for releasing things because it's really not my preferred thing. So if any of you guys use the air methods and you have good methods that I don't mention here, please leave it in the comments down below for people to figure out, because I could not think of many with this. But the ones that I could think of was thinking of what you want to release and blowing it away, which that is you actively taking that and speaking it away. So this is also in the form of venting. This is what we do when we vent to friends. Like, we verbally vent to them. We are verbally releasing that anger, that sadness, that fear out, and that's why we feel better when we vent to people, because we are actively releasing the energy associated with it. The last element we're talking about is spirit, and the one that I really felt called to mention, and the only one that I'm going to mention, is meditation. You don't really need physical items to release things, and I know that a lot of people prefer having physical items, and that's amazing, and it's nice to have something physical that you can dissolve away or broken down, whatever it is. But sometimes we don't have access to that, and maybe you don't have a way of doing any of these methods and you just want a simple way to do it right now and have it be super simple. The best way that I can think of to do that is meditation. Meditation is beneficial whether you're using it for releasing or other things, but meditation is just really, really helpful in general. And I'm not perfect. I don't meditate every day. I'm not someone who has a meditation routine that I stick to, but I do always recommend meditation just because it is so helpful. And when people do build a routine on it, it always is very helpful for them. So if you are going to use meditation, you can always meditate and imagine yourself in scenarios where either you're by a stream, or maybe you're in a forest, or maybe you're on the edge of a lake, or maybe you're at the ocean. Wherever it is that you feel calm and collected and safe to release whatever it is that you need to release. And it can be as simple as imagining yourself in a white expanse. It doesn't have to be anything specific, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Do what feels right to you, and do what is easiest for you, and what feels like it is effective for you, because really that's all that matters. If I tell you to do something, it might work for me, but it might not work for you. So always do what you feel comfortable and what you feel called to do. I hope one of these methods is helpful for you in releasing things, whether that is using fire, water, earth, air, or spirit. Whatever it is, I really hope that it helps you release whatever you're looking to release. If you have any additional ways of releasing things that I didn't mention in the video, or you would like to elaborate on something that I mentioned, please feel free to comment down below to help other people find methods that would work for them. Obviously, everybody does things differently, so if what works for me doesn't work for you, just do what feels right to you. I should not be your end-all be-all of your knowledge of this, so please go out and find other videos, find other knowledge about releasing and things like that, just to make sure that you've found a method that works really well for you. Or if you feel called to use one of the methods in this video, try it out and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, don't feel bad. One thing doesn't work for everybody, so just be aware of that and follow what you feel guided to use. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already subscribed, and hit the bell notification button if you would like to be notified every time I post a new video or when I go live. If you have any video suggestions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below, and I will do my best to answer them and add them to my video making list. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye. Let's hope I'm filming. Am I too close? Am I too close? Is my head in frame? I can't even see. This mirror was supposed to help me, and it's not helping me. I feel like someone is gonna get offended that like I'm pretty sure my bra straps are gonna show during this video, and I'm pretty sure someone's gonna get offended by it. Like, I don't know who, but I feel like someone's gonna get offended by it, and I'm pretty sure that at some point someone is probably gonna even get offended that I'm wearing black. And the dog is barking. I can't win, guys. You know I'm gonna procrastinate any way I can, because filming always makes me nervous. I just want to let everybody know that the people who think that YouTubers get on camera and are just completely fine and not anxious at all to be in front of a camera, that's not entirely true. I don't mind being in front of a camera, but every time I sit down and get in front of a camera, I'm like so anxious.